Therapy, yay or nay? Yay or nay? Are we with it? Are we not? I think therapy is a great start for most people. But like anything, when it comes to self-help, whether it's down to journaling, affirmations, whatever, you have to be willing to be honest. And if you're bullshitting the therapist, then you're not going to get anything out of it. I think therapy is a wonderful place to begin with starting your journey to not be as aggravating to yourself. Not be as aggravated in the human experience. I think it's a great start. However, it is not the place to end. So when I first started my journey towards awakening, I started with therapy, and it was one of the greatest things I ever did, because it helped me to finally, it's the first step to really looking at yourself and realizing how many things that you've never dealt with up into adulthood. So many things you just never dealt with. But I got to a place in therapy the first time I did it, where it just kind of plateaued, where I felt like I was wasting my time and I needed something deeper. And talking it out was good, and it was cool, but it was like, I got to do something about this now, beyond medication, and the thing is, I was so bad off one time. My therapist, I was like in a literal, just in panic mode, where I would call her sometimes just in a panic, like, please see me, and like boundaries, of course. She's like, no, you can't just pull up. Like, you have to have an appointment. But to me, in my mind, I was so depressed that a day felt like a decade. And getting through it was just not in the cards for me. So I would call her in a panic sometimes, and she was basically begging me to get on antidepressants. But in me, there was a seed in me that knew I didn't need that. Not speaking for everybody, because niggas on the internet love to get, well, oh my god, she told people not to take their antidepressants. I didn't tell you shit. Okay, I'm just telling you my experience. I knew within me that there was a mustard seed. It was hard for me to find that motherfucker, but I knew it was there. And if I could just find it and water it a little bit, I would be okay. But nonetheless, I got through the roughest parts of all of that, and I got to a place where I was good, but I knew it was something. I still needed something more. I had cleared off the dust off the casket. You know what I'm saying? And I could see the casket, but I wasn't resurrected yet. So that's when I started to get deeper into spirituality, and that's when I found the book, The Power of Now, which changed my life tremendously. I talk about the book all the time. If you have not read it, find that book and read it. It split my whole wig and made me realize that I wasn't here for my life. And that's not something that I got in therapy. And then the other thing was like, I felt like I was paying somebody to gossip. And it's a release in a way. It's a release, but it really, it don't get to the nitty gritty, because at the end of the day, I still have to do the work, once a week. Because this is the thing. You think about how many thoughts you have day to day. Just in 30 seconds, how many thoughts you have. And when you really get present and when you really start getting deep into this work, the amount of work that you have to do just in 30 minutes, because of the amount of emotions you feel, the ups and downs you feel, to bring yourself back to a space of just calm, is nuts. So I absolutely see why people just say, fuck it, I'ma just do drugs. I'ma just get drunk all the time. Because when you really start to notice just the amount of thoughts and emotions and ups and downs you have in a full 24 hours, you would go insane. Like, if you didn't want to deal with it, or if you didn't use something to numb yourself to that. But you got to grow up at some point and really learn how to deal with it, because it's you. That's what you came to master yourself. And you can't master yourself if you keep trying to avoid the work of that. So, to the point of all the thoughts that you have all day, every day, once a week for an hour ain't gonna do shit in the grand scheme of things. What? In an hour, I have been to my grave and back, literally, day to day. And this is on a regular day. Like, 1 hour a week with this person who has no idea who I am, as magnanimous as they can be. No. So I had to find a way to do this work moment to moment, because that's what you have to learn to do. You're going to have to do this work every moment of the day, not just once a day, not just at night before you go to sleep, not just once a week. It's a great start. It's a great start to get you to the place of finally taking responsibility for your stuff. Absolutely. But this is not, you can't take a day off from this. You can't. And that's what drives most of us crazy. And that's what keeps most of us from getting to the place of fully taking responsibility for ourselves, because we don't want to deal with that. It's like taking care of a baby. You can't just if you have a child, you can't just sit that motherfucker in a room somewhere, even though a lot of parents do that. Give him my iPad. Here you go, Johnny. Bye. And I'll deal with you later. This is what we do to ourselves. And we wonder why we're nuts. We wonder why we feel so alone. We wonder why we feel so disconnected from life. We don't even pay attention to ourselves. So I realized that I gotta take on a bigger role in this. Fantastic start. Good. But now we gotta get on post for ourselves. We gotta get on post for ourselves. This is not, you can't take a day off. You can, but then now the anxiety is creeping up. Now the depression is starting to feel weird, because you're trying to take a day off from you. And you can't. But when you really start to get into the place of power, and you start to see these beautiful things unfold because you're paying attention to yourself, instead of running, instead of cowering, you start to build more confidence. And you start to build more confidence in your ability to deal with yourself. And as you build that relationship with yourself, you become more equipped to handle everything that comes your way. Because you have to, at the end of the day, you have to deal with you, and you have to deal with all the things that are involved with you. This is what self-love is about. It ain't got shit to do with going to take yourself to the spa. That's nice. That's lovely. Going to the gym, eating your vegetables. That's nice. That's lovely. But are you with you all day, every day? Can you get yourself out of those moments where you feeling like everything is falling apart? Are you willing to learn how to get yourself out of those moments? Are you willing to be there for yourself? This is how you start to build your self-love. So, it's a great start. But like I said, I got to a point where I started to feel like I was paying somebody to gossip. And I knew that I wasn't really, I'll say the second time. Because the first time it was a great start. I went organically towards the spirituality thing, because I realized I need to start doing this all day, every day. So I naturally went to that. Later in my life, I went to therapy again, because I was in this place where I wanted to make this decision to change my life and go into the new version of me that was asking to be born, but I didn't really deep down, I didn't really want to make the choice. So I said, well, I'm going to go to therapy. I'm going to go to therapy, and I'm going to talk to a therapist, and I'm going to get all these things out. And it was a nice release, but that's all it was. It was just a release. It was a way for me to pay somebody to gossip about all of the problems that I had going on in my life. But at the end of the day, you either going to deal with them or you're not. You know what I'm saying? And you're either going to deal with them or you're not. And you can go to therapy for years and years and years and years. And it's great, you know, if that's what helps you, hey. But I knew for me, in myself, with my relationship with myself, I was doing that because I didn't want to take full responsibility of me at that moment. It was nice, well, I'm going to go to therapy and I'll get all this out in this hour and I'm good. But at the end of the day, I knew, especially after the first time I went into a space of awakening, I knew what to do. I just didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do it. It was easy. Instead of me journaling, you know, and getting my thoughts out and actually sitting with myself and figuring out and hearing with honest ears why I was cowering from the place that I wanted to take myself, it was easy for me to just go sit with somebody for an hour and talk about it. But you have to get to a place where you're on post all day, every day. And that's the real growing up. You know, you can wait, because it's like you go, you know, your therapist once a week for an hour, maybe 2 hours, depending on what your situation is. It's like subconsciously you're like, well, I can vacation, you know, until I get to these 2 hours, and I'll deal with it then. Deal with it now. Deal with it now. When that emotion comes up and you panicking and you don't want to face it, deal with it now. Don't wait until your therapist. Because if you start doing that, you'll realize that you have the ability to be your therapist. You have the ability to be your guru. You have the ability. All of these things are in you. They're in you. And so when you get to a place where you're really ready to assume that role and assume that responsibility, then you'll probably find that the therapy ain't really cutting it no more. So that's where I'm at with that. Adios.